Hello, welcome to the NBA season preview show presented by the Ultimate Sports Show. I'm joined as always by the best team in town here. I got Manny and Medina, guys. What's going
What's
on?
up, crew?
We
Happy
are
to be
back.
back.
We are back, and we are talking the NBA season preview. Got a lot of stuff to cover. Obviously, guys, it's a new season. Everything from last year is erased. We finally get normal basketball season here. Fans are in the stands. Every arena is going to be packed to the max. It's going to be great to see. But also, we got to get into who we're going to expect here because obviously a lot of good teams out there, a lot of good scenarios with players. Also, players did move around. So, I mean, it changes a lot of teams' aspects this year. A lot of teams that were struggling for those extra guys got some talented veteran players to join them as well. So, guys, I mean, I'm excited here. I mean, this is fun because, it's different teams that are competitive again. I mean, obviously, we're going to get into our top five teams, who we think from the West and the East. But, guys, I mean, I'm excited. The West and the East, I mean, obviously, the West has been so dominant for so long that I kind of feel like this season, I mean, what do you guys think? I feel like the East kind of just said, okay, hey, we're stepping up here. We're stepping up a little bit higher now. We want to be more competitive. We want to have a great record on both sides here. What do you guys think? I mean, I think the Eastern Conference now, I think there's a lot of teams in this on the East that are very much looking to be competitive this season.
Yeah, I agree with you, Aaron. In my personal opinion, ever since LeBron headed out west to join the Lakers, the East has gotten so wide open. And then it even got even more wide open after the Raptors won in 2019 because that's when KD and Kyrie went east. That's when Jimmy Butler went, and so on and so forth. But it's just amazing to see so much parity again because me as a big time sports fan, big time basketball fan, I was kind of bored between the Cavs and Warriors every single year. Now we get a lot of parity. We get different teams. 2019 we had the Raptors and the Warriors. 2020 we had Lakers and Heat. 2021 we had the Bucks and the Suns. I love seeing different teams every single year. It's just so fun to watch. And the fact that another thing is that congratulations obviously to the Milwaukee Bucks. Well-deserved championship. Giannis went off. Middleton played great. Holiday, obviously, great defense as usual. But I can't wait for the season to begin. It's been a long off season, a little longer than, actually, sarcasm, a lot longer than the last off season we had that was only 72 days long. This one we actually had an actual draft with spectators in the stands. We had an actual free agency that lasted quite a bit of time. Instead of 2 days, this one lasted over a month. And the fact that we had preseason basketball, 6 games instead of 2 games, which were last year, which is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy that we're back to normalcy. Yes, we know there's still a pandemic going on. I'm not saying we should all go freaking crazy and not have masks on, but we should all still stay safe, and we should take precautions nonetheless. But I'm just very happy that we have the season back to normal, 82 games as usual, and I'm just so psyched for us to get it going.
Oh, wow. Okay, how do I top off all that excitement, Manny?
Right.
I mean, you pretty much spoke
Seriously.
for all of us in here. But yes, to piggyback off from that, I'm excited. I'm mostly excited to be back on the show with my awesome crew. Aaron, Manny, it's always a pleasure being on the show, talking with you guys, talking basketball.
Facts.
And, it's not just the NBA and the teams that you're going to notice a change with. You're going to also notice a little change in our show, too, this season. We're going to be talking more basketball. We're going to be talking about more teams. And we're just so excited to get into that and do things a little differently. And I'm excited for all these changes. But to go back to what Aaron was saying before, there's a lot of teams that have made changes during this free agency post-season. It's just we've had a long time. We actually, like what Manny was saying, we've actually had time to actually, form a whole new team. I mean, for starters, look at the Lakers. only what LeBron and AD and THT are on that team now. We have a whole new team. We don't have anything else from before going on, and we could say that the East, like you guys were saying, they have been building up their teams. Like, I'm not going off my list right now, but like for example, the Bulls have definitely revamped their team. That's something exciting that we're going to see. We're probably going to get to see them play better basketball this season. Shout out to our GOAT that actually just went there too. We miss you, Caruso. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't say the East is better than us, in my personal opinion. I feel like it's more fair now. I feel like we're kind of on the same level with how every team's going to be playing now. I mean, we have what they're calling the Lakers right now, the old team, but eventually what we call the super team. We have that in the West right now. And then we also have a super team in the East, which are the Nets for now. We'll see what happens with that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this year. I personally think, my opinion, the West is going to take it once again. But, I mean, if the East takes it, I wouldn't be too mad about it either. Something new.
Something new is great. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. Obviously, let's get into it here. I mean, we're gonna get everyone ready. You know, this is our we're gonna give you guys today our predictions of our top 5 teams, like teams that we think are gonna be obviously competitive, top 5 in their division. Obviously, championship caliber teams as well, but I'm gonna let you guys go first. Let's start with the East. So, Manny, top 5 teams for the Eastern Conference. Who do you got?
First one is pretty self-explanatory, in my opinion. The Brooklyn Nets. We all know that they're still in my opinion, the second best team in the whole NBA. They have KD. They have Harden. Yes, Kyrie. We don't know what's gonna happen to him this season, if he's gonna play home games or not. We don't know if he's going to get the vaccine. There's all problems there. But they still have a very good, team outside of the big 3. They still have Joe Harris, who is one of the best shooters in the whole NBA. He was a free agent 2 summers ago, and I would have wanted the Lakers to pick him up because, who says no to shooting, obviously. But they also have a really good up-and-coming big man on their team as well in Nicholas Claxton. I really like this kid's game, and I think he can succeed what DeAndre Jordan had when he left, which is big for them, obviously. And second, I'm going to go with the defending champs, Milwaukee Bucks. We all know they have Giannis. In my opinion, he's the best player in the NBA right now, and obviously a great sidekick in Chris Middleton, who is a great 3-and-D guy. A lot of haters I saw on Twitter, a lot of NBA haters would say, like, Middleton's not all that. He proved you guys in the playoffs. This guy was a second-round pick years ago, and he proved you guys wrong in the playoffs. He went off, and he is such a big asset to Milwaukee. He's the heart and soul of the Bucks, in my opinion, outside of Giannis, obviously. And then, obviously, they have Jrue Holiday, who is one of the best defensive guards in basketball. People obviously didn't know much about him because he would play in a small market like New Orleans. So people were like Jrue Holiday, really, Milwaukee? Why would you get Jrue Holiday? What does he do? Well, you saw what he did when they acquired him, and I said on our show back in February that that was a championship move that Milwaukee got in Jrue Holiday because of his defense and the fact that he can pop 1 or 2 threes a game. And then third, obviously, is a team that made a lot of moves in the offseason. First, obviously, retaining Duncan Robinson. The Heat, by the way, I'm talking about, if you guys didn't know. Basically, like, retaining Duncan Robinson. Yeah, it was a bit of an overpay, but who cares? He can pop a bunch of threes, and he's really, really big asset to them off the bench. And then, obviously, They got Kyle Lowry. We got some viewers here in Canada, obviously. I happen to live there. He meant a lot to this country. He meant a lot to the city of Toronto. I'm hearing that the Raptors are planning on retiring his jersey once he goes away from the NBA and retires. which is absolutely well deserved because he is the greatest Raptor of all time and the greatest NBA player to set foot in Canada, in my opinion, for that team. And then fourth, I'm going to go with a team that did an absolute amazing surprise in the Atlanta Hawks. What do I got to say about Trae Young? This guy is an absolute scoring machine. In my opinion, he is the next Steph Curry coming in. And then obviously they have a really deep young team, guys, in my opinion. John Collins, I didn't know he was going to resign just because, like, I was hearing rumors in the offseason saying that I don't know if he's going to stay. Like, teams were looking at him in the offer sheet as well. But the big move that obviously brought him to the hump to going to the conference finals was acquiring Clint Capella. That was a huge move, in my opinion, because they needed help in the front court. Like, I think 2 years ago, their center was Alex Len. That's not gonna cut it for you, in my opinion. And no disrespect to Alex Len, not hating on Alex Len, guys. It's just the fact that I don't think he's a starter. He's more of a backup. He's not really a guy that's gonna start for you and lead you to a conference championship or a finals berth, which, in my opinion, Atlanta could get to the finals. I'm not saying they will. They could, in my opinion. And then the fifth and final East team, another team that made a lot of offseason moves. Maybe it's a bit of a bias just because one of my favorite players in the NBA, one of my favorite players in the NBA plays for them, and that's the Chicago Bulls. But I'm not going to talk about those two players yet. Right now, I'm going to talk about, obviously, a guy that was stuck in a team that's full of purgatory. Glad now they're headed for a bit of a rebuild in the San Antonio Spurs. They got rid of DeMar DeRozan. He was a free agent, and Chicago absolutely stole him. I didn't expect him to go to Chicago, guys. I thought he was going to go to either the Lakers, the Clippers, or the Nets. That's basically was my three guesses in the offseason where DeMar DeRozan was going to go. And he ended up choosing the Chicago Bulls, and I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming. And obviously, like, them getting a nice wing is one of the reasons why they had to depart from obviously the only Finnish player in the NBA in Lauri Markkanen. But now to talk about the two players that I said, Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso, two former Lakers. So obviously we gotta always show them love because, you know, we are Laker fans here. So obviously, you know, Lonzo, former Laker, he was my favorite Laker, by the way, apart from the AD trade. But he's going to be a great asset to that team just because, you know, he's 3-and-D. Yes, you guys could say, like, Manny, like, come on, his free throws are not that great because he would shoot like 40% from the free throw line. Guys, it's been getting better. Slowly, Lonzo Ball has been climbing percentage in the free throws. It went from 49% to like 65%. So he's slowly going to get better in that department. He's still young. And then obviously, the GOAT himself, guys, Alex Caruso. We're all sad that he's not a Laker anymore, but what do you want to do? NBA is a business. He's obviously going to bring so much excitement. I've seen preseason highlights of him on the Bulls already. He's doing highlight reel dunks, highlight reel passes. So, like, he's obviously going to matter a lot to that team. And the way he was the heart and soul of the Lakers, he's going to be the heart and soul of the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion.
You gotta unmute yourself. But it's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's the beauty of sports.
My bad.
So
Saving the best content for last. Go ahead, Medina.
Thank you. Actually, you know what? I will admit, I mean, I miss hearing Manny talk. Like, you always come in clutch when it comes to breaking things down, Manny. I love that so much.
Manny the statistician, man.
Every
You
time I
just
go
said
after
that.
Manny, I'm like left speechless. I'm like, okay, is there anything left for me to even say at this point? I think Manny's got it covered for the most part.
you
But
still got stuff to say. It's all good.
yes, I do. I have my own little rundown I'll give you guys. You know, Matt, you did cover most of it, Manny, so thank you for that. But my list is actually similar to yours. So I will start off by saying, first and foremost, shout out to the Bucks because they did win last year. Shout out to Giannis for being one of the best and giving an absolutely great performance during that playoff series. And with that being said, I do think that the Bucks would win for the East. Just because, you know, it's possible to run it back again. No doubt about it. Giannis is hot right now. He's young. He's good. He's unstoppable. He's a beast. I will say, I will put this out there for right now, even though he's great and he's getting there. I still think that, in my opinion, Giannis is the second best player right now in the NBA, but we'll get more into that later. Manny's already giving me that look.
The Manny look.
I would have put the Nets first, but just because we don't know what's going on with Kyrie at the moment, I put them down for number 2. Just because, there's still a possibility KD and Harden's there, that, anything can happen. They'll make it to the playoffs for sure, but do they look as ferocious as they did last year when they first came together? Not really. I don't see them much as a threat anymore, but that's just, again, my opinion. Third, Miami, just like Manny said, like, damn, they made a lot of good moves. They made a lot of moves, and they have a lot of great players on their team, and I honestly see them coming close to winning it. Maybe not winning the entire thing, but I see like a Bucks in Miami thing going on, most likely, but that's just my opinion, like I said. And the fourth team on my list, you guys might disagree with me just because of how they've been playing recently, but I'm going to put the Celtics there. It's still a possibility that they'll make it to the playoffs. I mean, Jason Tatum's a great player, so we have to give him credit where it's due. And fifth, I would say the Hawks. I would put them above Celtics, but I still think they're just like a fairly new team that managed to make it to the playoffs last year. But I mean, Trae Young is great. He's developing. He's hungry for it. I know he wants to get back into it, so that's why I think they're going to make it again. But maybe not win the championship, but I do see them making it at least past the first round again, like they did last year. So that's my list for the Eastern Conference. What about you, Aaron?
All right. Well, I mean, now I really don't have to say much. You know what, though? Obviously, I will say again as well. Obviously, Milwaukee Bucks deserved that NBA championship. They played their asses off in that series. They were the better team, and they deserved it. And they were the defending champions. So I'm going to definitely say, you know what, with that, Milwaukee Bucks, I got them number 1. You know what? I have Brooklyn as number 2. Reasons also not just because of Kawhi, but it's just also, I think that the Nets,
Kyrie.
I think it's also, not just Kyrie, my bad. Not just Kyrie. I think it's also just the fact of how does this team gel? We saw a glimpse of what they could be last year. Obviously the chemistry issues, obviously Steve Nash's style of offense, Steve Nash's style of playmaking, and his defensive strategies and the offensive strategies is meant to play a smaller style of basketball. So my thing is, I'm going to put them number 2 because how does their defense look? They gave up the most points, almost the most points in the league at one point in their defense last year. And they have almost the same similar guys. They added some pieces, but they, how do they respond? That's why I say Milwaukee's got the edge, because the Milwaukee, obviously you have Giannis out there, Chris Middleton, those guys, I just think with them, their size, their length, I got them as number 1 still, because I just think sometimes your better defense, your bigger guys that are out there running the offense here, going to give you a better opportunity. Third, I know Manny will be happy with me here. I got Chicago Bulls. I got the Bulls. Obviously, what Lonzo and Caruso have out there, just adding to their team already that they had. I mean, they're so much more deeper than they were, and it's kind of like I kind of look at this Bulls team this year, and I said this kind of reminds me of 2011, because obviously they had such a great team back then with a younger Derrick Rose, and this team, I just feel like they're locked. I feel like the chemistry. My only concern why I put them as third is how is their chemistry. How is the chemistry on and off the court? Because that matters, just not only on both sides, but how does the chemistry matter? How does their offensive system look? What kind of style of play are they going to do? And how is obviously you're going to have Caruso out there. You're going to have Lonzo out there, who, obviously you got 2 ball handlers, not just people that could shoot, but also how do you balance that out? And obviously, we'll get into the West in a little bit as well and talking about that a little bit more. But I got the Hawks as number 4. Trae Young, just keeps getting better and better. Obviously, they've been calling him Mini Mamba a little bit in the last few years because of just how he inspires his game. I mean, he's very competitive. He's very passionate about the game. He kind of brings that mentality to Atlanta, and I think that's great of him to do. And then obviously the last thing for my last team is the Celtics, Boston Celtics. Obviously, Celtics are a little frowned upon here in LA, but you know what? I'm still going to say I still think they have a chance as well. I put them last as well. Let's see how they perform this year. What kind of pieces, they added some pieces as well in the offseason. How do they look as well? So now we're going to turn it over to the West, and then we'll wrap things up here. So obviously, Manny, who we got for the West?
The West, here we go. Basically, number one, we all know what I was going to pick. We all know what we were all going to pick, and that is the LA Lakers. My favorite team, all our favorite teams. Basically, and that's not just because it's a bias thing. Maybe a little bit is, but the reason why is because, the big three. We have LeBron, we have AD, but then, literally, guys, I come home from work on that day when I'm hearing Lakers are inquiring Buddy Hield, Russell Westbrook, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But in a good way. Like, I'm smiling when I was looking at this. And then I find out we get Westbrook. Now we have a big three to go against Brooklyn's big three. And it's actually an advantage just because they might not have Kyrie playing every game. So let's just say there's the Christmas game that's happening on the 25th. And we play the Brooklyn Nets. It's gonna be a big advantage if Kyrie doesn't play that game for us. But it's not only because of the big three. I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. The one move, apart from Westbrook, that I'm really happy about the Lakers got is Malik Monk. And the fact that it's not only the contract we got him on, because that was a steal of a contract. It was like 1.5 mil, 2 mil that we got him on, which is absolutely out. It's absurd, guys. It's absurd. And the fact that he is one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he was part of the Charlotte Hornets core, and they just gave him to us. Amazing, in my opinion. And then another thing is as well is that the fact that we brought back Trevor Ariza from that 2009 team. Yes, I know he's a lot older than he was in 2009, but he's still 3-and-D. He can still play. He can still knock down shots. He can still play great D. So that's another thing I'm really happy about. The number 2 team I'm going to put might shock you guys a little bit. I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors. But I'm not completely sold on them in October. The reason why I'm picking the Warriors is because in November is when they're going to get Klay Thompson back. Will he be that same guy back in 2019, 2018, whatever? I don't know about that, you guys. But the thing is because we all know what the Splash Bros can do. And the fact that Draymond's defense is still there. Jordan Poole is a great young player that is just up and coming. They had a great draft in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. Getting these guys in the top 15 in the draft is absolutely outstanding. In my opinion, the Golden State Warriors, and I said this on our draft show, and I'm still saying it again, the Golden State Warriors had the best draft in the NBA, and it's not even close. Third, I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. And this one's pretty self-explanatory. What's there not to like about Luka Doncic? He is the best young guy under the age of 23 right now in the NBA, in my opinion. Yes, Trae Young is legit. He brought the Atlanta Hawks to conference finals, but Luka Doncic is doing things that I haven't seen since LeBron James was young, which is absolutely insane. And yet you might say, Manny, but they're never healthy. Kristaps Porzingis is dealing with injuries every season for the past 4 or 5 years. But Kristaps Porzingis, when he's healthy, you guys, is not only an outstanding rebounder, but an outstanding scorer and an above average defender, in my opinion. So that's another thing I got to get into that. And also a little bit of a Villanova bias as well. They have Jalen Brunson, who's a really good young point guard. So the Mavericks are going to be good, and also they have a deep-pocketed owner in Mark Cuban. Who knows what trades he's going to pull off to complement that big two. And then the fourth team I'm going to go with is the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, obviously, what's there to talk about Phoenix Suns when you have to mention Devin Booker? Yes, I know DeAndre Ayton. I heard today according to Shams on Twitter, is that he's not completely sold on signing an extension. He might not stay after the season. But look, DeAndre Ayton is still one of the best young centers in the NBA. We saw what he did in the playoffs. Yes, I was a little bit critical of him because, I feel like he played with a bit of a lack of aggression. But I still think DeAndre Ayton is a great center to build around Devin Booker because let's say Devin Booker is missing his 3-point shots. He could easily throw lobs to DeAndre Ayton. And then if Devin Booker comes off the game and then CP3 comes in, he can throw lobs to him. And then there's also another good 3-and-D guy. Another reason why I'm picking them for is because they have another good 3-and-D guy. 3-and-D guys are so valuable in today's NBA. Mikal Bridges. Shout out to him, by the way, that he signed a big extension. But obviously, he can knock down threes. He can play great defense. So, obviously, Phoenix Suns are going fourth. And then the fifth team I'm going with is the Portland Trailblazers. Without a doubt, we can't talk about Portland without talking about Dame time. Damian Lillard. This guy is literally a poor man Steph Curry. He can pull up anywhere. He can absolutely space the floor very well for all the big men on this team, whether it's Zach Collins, whether it's Yusuf Nurkic, and then obviously a great shooting guard in CJ McCollum. We all know what he can do. Yes, I know he's not exactly as talented as the other shooting guards I mentioned, but he's still very legit. Shout out to them for bringing back Norman Powell. I think he's a great 3-and-D guy for them. And obviously, the Blazers are still going to be there, whether, in my opinion, it's the play-in tournament or the 5th and 6th seed. Blazers are making the playoffs without a doubt. Yes, I know I was a bit critical about them as well, that they didn't do a lot of moves in the offseason, but they still got Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic, so Blazers are going 5th for me.
All right.
Manny,
okay.
That is some breakdown. Never change, buddy. Never change.
The best analyst on our show, no doubt.
The best one right there. All right, Medina, what you got?
All right. Well, the list very similar, most likely to yours too, Aaron. Pretty similar to Manny's. Just a little bit of a mix-up. I will say though, I do think the Lakers will take it in the West. This is me speaking not from being a fan, but just looking at the team that we have this year. I mean, LeBron, AD, Russ, Melo, Ariza, Rondo, Dwight. I mean, THT, Malik, Nunn, everyone. We got the vets, and then we got the best young guys too, in my opinion. So I'm really excited to see how this team is going to come together and play this year. No doubt about it. I really do believe we're going to be number 1, number 2 seed. We're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to win that, championship 18 there with the team that we have created. But other than that, the next team on my list, it is going to be the Mavs, just because they did come close to it last year. And Luka Doncic, even though he's been getting better, he's young, he's talented, he has so many years left in him to play, there's definitely going to be, we're going to be seeing a lot of, I hope that we actually see a Lakers versus Mavs this year. I think that would be really fun to watch and interesting to see. But, the third team on my list is going to be the Suns. I do think that Devin Booker and CP3 are going to show up again this year. I don't think they're going to make it to the finals, in my opinion. I do believe they are a talented team with a lot of talented players, especially young players as well. But I think they just got really lucky last year to even make it that far into the finals. But I think this year, maybe round 1, round 2, the most. But the fourth team, I will say, Warriors. I'm not really too sure about them either. I'm a little skeptical about it too, just like Manny is. I think it really is going to depend on how Klay Thompson is when he comes back. I mean, we can't expect him to be the way he was before he got injured. Obviously, he's going to be a little rusty coming back onto the court. But I am excited to see what they're going to be doing, and and yeah, I'm excited to see the Splash Bros back in action. They got a great team. Steph is a fun guy to watch. Clay is a fun guy to watch. So I would love to see the Warriors make it this year. And the last but not least, you guys already know, I'm gonna go with Portland. Dame time all the way. That's if not being a Laker fan. If I had to root for any other team, it'd be Portland because God only knows how much I want Dame to come on our team one day. But man, I'm rooting for that guy. He deserves to win a championship, guys. He's such an incredible player, hardworking, talented. He's got a great team of guys. So it's going to be an exciting season, that's for sure. Go ahead,
Absolutely. Aaron. I'm gonna keep mine simple here. Not just because I live in LA and not just because I'm a fan of the Lakers. I got the Lakers number one, obviously. I think we all know why. The rest explains itself. I got number two. I know some people say it's surprise, a little bit of surprise. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, man. Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, that core team right there, obviously, they're a good team. They made it to the finals for a reason. They're not. They keep that young core of guys that they have together with CP3 as well for as long as he keeps playing. Obviously, they keep them together. They could be very dangerous as well. I don't see them dipping anywhere else. They're too talented of a team. Obviously, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with contract extensions and everything. That should hopefully play out. But, obviously, that's all up to the management of what they want to do. I got number three. I got the Los Angeles Clippers in here because, Clippers.
The look on Manny's face right now.
The look on Manny's face, I know. But you know what? I have to give, we've always said you got to give credit where credit's due to a good team. The Clippers made it to their first Western Conference Finals in their history of their franchise. I will not count them out as making it there. Obviously, a playoff breakdown eventually will happen. But obviously, I will say this, they're a good team as well. You got PG-13 on that team. You have Leonard. You have Ibaka. They lost Patrick Beverly as well, who is a key defender for them as well. It'll be interesting though. How do they come out? How do they play? What's their style of play? And obviously, how do they obviously look this year? Number four, I got, of course, can't mention a basketball team that's in Portland, Oregon, without mentioning a guy that's known as Dame Time as well. So I got Damian Lillard and the Blazers number four. And then actually, as previewing as the opening night, is the Golden State Warriors is my number five team. How does Curry look as well? What happens to Klay Thompson? I mean, we'll get into that a little bit more as we get into the opening night coming up here. But how does this team look? What is their system style of how they're gonna play? How's their defense gonna look this year? How does it look with Klay Thompson coming back? Obviously, that changes a lot of how they play. Iguodala returning back to the Warriors. I mean, I thought that was huge. So it's great to see that they've established some of their core pieces back together again. And it'll be really fun. Honestly, guys, I'm looking forward to this NBA season. And thank you guys all for joining us for the NBA season preview. We're excited. I mean, it's great. It's great to have basketball back. It's great to talk basketball here at the Ultimate Sports Show, guys. So that's going to do it for us for the NBA season preview show. For Medina and Manny and myself, I'm Aaron, guys. Enjoy the NBA season, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Peace.